Hi there, folks. Welcome to the program. This, of course, is Stinchfield, the podcast. It's great to be along with you this afternoon. Listen to me. The polls are fake. The polls are not real. The mainstream media, once again, is manipulating the data. In fact, they're making it up. I know this is the case. How do I know the case? Well, we covered President Trump's rally on Friday night from Arizona. It was the most electrifying rally I've ever seen from President Trump. Fabulous. Everywhere this man goes, there's crowd sizes that do not compare to Kamala Harris's handful of people. Yet the polls now are supposedly neck and neck with Kamala Harris up 1 or 2 points. Swing states now neck and neck with Kamala Harris up 1 or 2 points. I don't buy any of it, folks. And the reason why I don't buy it is because nothing has changed. Yes, the mainstream media made Kamala Harris out to be some new, fresh, invigorated candidate, but the American people aren't this dumb. The American people know that she's not putting her radical policies out to be investigated. She's not putting her policies on display for all of us to see. The people know this. So what I believe right now is that President Trump may be up anywhere between 10 and 20 points. And one of the reasons I believe this is you have a whole slew of new voters again, just like 2016. This is a repeat of 2016. Remember, going in to the election in 2016, President Trump was neck and neck, down 5, down 8 points to Hillary Clinton. I mean, literally, he was down 5 to 8 points to Hillary Clinton going into Election Day. And, again, had a big day because they weren't taking into account new voters. This is what we're seeing again. Hispanics and blacks. And I have proof. I'm going to play you Democrat voices that actually give away the secret here. One of them being James Carville. All right, the website is grantstinchfield.com, grantstinchfield.com. Folks, don't forget, I just want to tell you that the show is brought to you by the Wellness Company. I've got one of these emergency medical kits. Ivermectin comes in here. The new Contagion kit has hydrochloroquine in it as well. But these are all my prescription medications, and I have in case of emergency. Do you have prescription medications in case of an emergency? You better. TWC.health/grant. Use promo code GRANT for 10% off. We're grateful for their support of this program. Water, ammunition, food, power, and yes, prescription medications. Do it today. TWC.health/grant. Use that promo code GRANT. All right, with that, folks, let's get the show started.
Uncensored and unapologetic. This is Stinchfield. Here's your host, Grant Stinchfield.
All right, thank you very much. So, how did I get on this track that the polls are fake? One, anecdotally, I'm looking at people out there that, by and large, are for President Trump. Do you remember back in 2020, you were not allowed to say you were for President Trump if you were black or Hispanic? There'd be nobody coming out and admitting it. They may admit it quietly. Now, everywhere you go, there's black folks admitting that they are all for President Trump. I don't know if you saw this clip from Benny Johnson interviewing black folks, but let me play a little bit of it for you. And this is really proof to me that I think President Trump up double digits.
I vote for Trump. I go for Donald Trump. Me too. I go for Trump.
Who are you voting for in 2024?
Trump too.
And why is that, ma'am?
He the best president ever.
Has Barack Obama done anything for around here? And
He never did anything since he been in office.
Yeah.
And I'm glad he out. Trump the best.
Barack Obama? Man, I ain't got no message to him. I don't mess with Barack Obama.
Yeah.
No, I'm a Trump supporter. Trump do more for black people and care more about black people. And Barack Obama ain't black. Just to let that be known.
All right. What about Kamala Harris?
I don't with her either.
Yeah.
All Trump all day.
Yeah. What's your message to Donald Trump today?
Keep going. Come get us, man. We waiting on you.
I'm a Trump supporter, man. We gonna keep this going. Trump, he a real businessman. I'm a real Republican, man. I want Trump back in office second term.
So this is the kind of thing we're seeing all across the country. I'm grateful for Betty Johnson going out and interviewing these people, but it's very common to see this. Now, who we don't see very often admit that President Trump is up, even in the wake of all these bogus polls. Somebody like James Carville. So he goes on with Bill Maher over the weekend, and he says something very, very interesting. I want to play it for you, and then we'll talk about it and why it lends credence to the fact that President Trump is up big.
James, how much faith are you putting in polls that show Harris is ahead in key states and nationwide?
So let me say this. August is a great Democratic month. We hell on wheels come August, okay? You remember what George Sanders said about Dave Winfield? He called him Mr. May. The idea is to be good in November.
So interesting. He's saying August is a great month for Democrats. Well, it's a great month for Democrats because they've just coming off their convention, and you should get a bump in the polls, right? The problem is I don't trust the polls, so I don't even trust that the bump is real. Kamala Harris had the worst approval rating of any vice president. It was right down there with Joe Biden. There's no way the American people just all of a sudden watch the mainstream media and say, oh, this is all resurrected. The mainstream media, I now think, wanted credit for the turnaround of Kamala Harris. So they pushed their own story that look at what the mainstream media did. They resurrected Kamala Harris when, in fact, that story, too, is a bogus story. Certainly they did their best to cover for her and improve her image, but I don't think it worked with the American people. I really don't.
And I tell Democrats some caution here. First of all, most quants say we have to win by 3 in the popular vote to win the Electoral College. So when you see a poll that says we 2 up, well, that's actually you're 1 down if the poll is correct.
Yeah, you lose.
The other thing is Trump traditionally, when he's on the ballot, chronically underpolls.
He's certainly underpolled in 2016. 2020, you got to throw out because the entire election was stolen. I think President Trump probably won big. In fact, I know he did in 2020. 2016, he underpolled because there were new voters, right? That we didn't know. When they said likely voters, were surveying likely voters. Folks, I'm telling you, this is the same thing this time around. There are so many new voters coming out of the woodwork to vote for Donald Trump. What I need to do one day is take to the streets and find out how many people are voting for the first time. This time around, after 4 years of hell under Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. A lot. And these polls are not taking that into account at all. Add in the RFK factor now, RFK Jr. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. That has a huge bump for President Trump.
All right. And so they came back late in Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania in 2020, and it showed Biden winning these states 7, 8 points.
Under polls, meaning Trump's going to do better than the polling shows?
I'm saying traditionally, he underpolls. Traditionally.
Means he's going to do better in the election because people are too ashamed to tell a pollster they're going to vote for.
I don't know,
right.
But I'm just saying traditionally, with Trump on the ballot, just telling the Democrats, they said, oh, James and Debbie down. Oh, what's he talking about? Well, I'm not just telling you, you got to win by 3.
So he's saying that, and this is common thought amongst pollsters, that if you win the popular vote, if you're a Democrat, you got to win by more than 3 points because the way the Electoral College sets up, the way the swing state sets up, you can win the popular vote but lose the Electoral College. Fine. I don't need to even think about up by 3, down by 3, up by 1. I think President Trump is up by 10 to 20 points. And I think he's up by 10 to 20 points because I think Trump supporters are more enthused about getting him back in office than they ever have been. Even more than 2016, even more than 2020, if that's possible. You just look at the rally the other night. I mean, it was insanity, the amount of enthusiasm, the amount of people that are showing up across the country. So I think more people are now engaged with President Trump than ever before. They're not being taken into account. And the media is covering for Kamala Harris's abysmal numbers when it comes to approval, when it comes to her reputation, when it comes to people thinking that she's a viable candidate. They are covering up for her. So there is this RFK factor. And I'm going to tell you about it. I want to play the clip when he introduces RFK. I mean, it's like the NBA Finals in Arizona when they introduce RFK. Really quite amazing. But before I get there, folks, I want to tell you about my friends over at NFN8. This is an amazing firm. Get21now.com. Get21now.com. 21% on your money annualized. They pay the interest monthly. All right. So you get annualized 21% on your money. Where are you going to get that? Okay. Where are you going to get those payments every month like clockwork? All right. This is what Get21now.com can offer you. The secret, folks, is in the mining. They're mining Bitcoin. Okay. Giant warehouses. Now, I've talked to the men behind this group. They've been doing this for 8 years now. They are very, very successful. Every promise they've made to me, they have kept. I have already started receiving my checks. I told you, and I say this over and over again. I was a businessman, still am. I got to make payroll. I got to buy inventory. I got to pay the bills. I got to do all of this stuff. Pay the mortgage on the building. Pay the rent if you're renting space. With Get21now.com. You literally get 21% annualized on your investment, paid monthly, cash flow, real legitimate cash flow. So do me a favor, go to Get21now.com, get in touch with them, let them talk to you about how they can help you diversify your portfolio. Get21now.com, they're great people. All right, folks. I told you I would play Donald Trump introducing RFK Jr. And I'm telling you, this is huge. And I'm going to spell out the numbers as to why this is huge, okay?
Of you people have heard of him. He's very low-key. He's a very low-key person, but he's highly respected. He is a great person. I've known him for so long. For the past 16 months, Robert F. Kennedy Jr.,
That's what it's all about right there.
man, whoa.
I love
he
it,
deserves
folks.
it. He deserves it.
So, folks, that scene is another reason why I believe President Trump is up in the polls. But let me talk about RFK Jr. and the endorsement of what it means. By most accounts, RFK was polling about 5%. He'd argue it was more. He's going to argue those polls were fake. I'm going to tell you it's not less. All right, there were a lot of people very upset with Joe Biden. And I believe RFK was pulling more from Joe Biden than he was Kamala Harris, no matter what RFK tells you. He says he basically got out of the race because he didn't want the prospect of pulling votes from Trump and letting Kamala Harris get in. I appreciate this for him. I think it's heroic, him getting out of the race. His voice was an important one, even though a lot of the things he says and does, I don't agree on. I agree with him on speech and I agree with him on the vax, but I don't agree with him on the Green New Deals, and I don't agree with him on guns, and I don't agree with him on some other things. But the core issues that he was really running on, free speech and the vax, were there. So if he's up 5%, and you want to say that he pulls equally from both sides, at best, he pulls equally from both sides. At worst, for Joe Biden, he's going to pull more from Joe Biden than he does from Trump. It could be 3-2, 3% from Biden, 2% from Trump, and that's where you get the 5%. That's my assessment. So say it's 2.5, 2.5. The people that he polled from Joe Biden are not going to vote. They're not. They're not going back to Biden, especially after RFK Jr. endorses President Trump. They're not going to go back. The people that were with him that were Trump supporters are all going back. In fact, most of them I know said they really just felt so strongly about the vaccine that they will go back to President Trump. They felt the need to stand with Robert F. Kennedy Jr. because of the harms of the vaccine. And so now they're going to go back to President Trump. So if you get the Biden supporters sitting on the sidelines and all the Trump supporters that RFK polled going to vote for Trump, that is huge. So say you poll just 1% more, just 1% more, a 1% bump in the polls by getting that third-party candidate's voters. That's huge in a race that the media is telling you is tight. Now, in the end, what I'm telling you, maybe it doesn't matter because we're up 10 to 20 points. I don't see how we're not, folks. I really don't. I don't see how we are not up 10 to 20 points. And I'll keep going back to the mainstream media. This is CNN, Aaron Burnett, spelling out the trouble for Joe Biden. Now, if CNN spells it out, it's probably real.
Endorsing Trump. Kennedy telling reporters that Trump had asked him to, quote, enlist him in his administration. Now, the latest swing state polls show Kennedy with 5 or 6% of the vote. And so when you think about it overall, you may say, well, that's not a big deal. Actually, if that is the case in swing states, it is huge. It is everything. It is more than the margin between Harris and Trump in some of those same states.
So there you go. And I'm letting you look at this, right? So support for RFK Jr., 6% in Arizona, 5% in North Carolina, 6% in Nevada, 5% in Michigan, 5% in Pennsylvania. So this is where I get that 5% number. So Aaron Burnett is even saying this would be huge. Add the RFK Jr. numbers now to the Trump camp numbers. And again, you get what? More Trump voters, meaning more support for him, and really in a position where we could landslide this thing. Now, here's the problem. I don't like telling you this, but I want you to feel very good about things. I don't want you to get lazy, and I don't want you to think we don't have to work. We do, because you know what they have. They have fraud. So remember what President Trump says. We've got to beat them by 10 points to overcome the fraud. So when I tell you we're up 10 to 20 points, then what does that mean? It really only means we're up 1 to 8 points, 9 points, because if you got the 10% level first and it's still even because of the fraud, we've got to overcome this. So you got to run like we're from behind. I hate telling you that we're up big, but folks, I really, really do believe that we are. Okay. This is a focus group on News Nation talking about the polling. All right. So listen to this.
Substantial. Tony Fabrizio, who's a pollster that I've known and worked with for a long time, is the lead pollster for the internal Trump polls, released a memo today going through the 7 battleground states that a lot of people have focused on, talking about North Carolina, Pennsylvania, and Michigan, and Wisconsin, Nevada, Arizona, and Georgia. And in every single one of those 7 battleground states, all of these RFK voters, RFK Jr. voters, break towards Trump. Some of them, Trump is getting 2/3 of the RFK voters, and he's getting about 4%, 3% in these states. And in a state like Pennsylvania, where it could well come down to, tens of thousands of votes, a half a point or 3/4 of a point, that may well make the difference in who the next president is.
Well, under the polling that you're seeing now, let me go back to these numbers here. So Trump campaign polling on who RFK Jr. voters support, 53%. I mean, look at these numbers. These are huge. So these RFK Jr. numbers supporting Trump, I don't think these Harris numbers you see on your screen, 28%, 34%, I don't think they go vote. They may support Harris. They may not vote for Trump, but I don't think they're voting. And that's the biggest thing, is the people sitting on the sidelines from this. Now, He continued here, and I want to keep playing this for you because it is fascinating.
Of a point, that may well make the difference in who the next president is. A lot of people have said that Pennsylvania is going to be the key for Kamala Harris. Democrats cannot win the presidency without Pennsylvania. That is the conventional wisdom. If RFK Jr. makes the difference in other states and Pennsylvania, it really could spell the difference in this campaign. This should be taken seriously. This is a big day in the campaign. And let me tell you, Kamala Harris did not want this to happen on the first day after her convention. She wanted to come out of there riding high. This has completely and totally changed the subject, and now we're back playing on Trump's turf again.
And that's big as well. But I actually believe we're always playing on Trump's turf. This guy runs and sets the agenda. He sets the news agenda. Anything he does gets covered by the media, even if it gets covered in a negative fashion. They're constantly covering him, which I know there'll be billions of dollars poured into this race, but I don't think this race is going to come down to money. I think this race is coming down to the policies that Americans love and want to have instituted back in place. And they do not like this idea. I mean, Kamala Harris, in what few times she's talked about policy, she offers up communist ideas. Price controls. Tim Walz, we're going to talk about him. Tim Walz says China's so great. This is a quote from him, by the way. China's so great because everyone's equal. Doctors and warehouse workers, they get the same amount of food rationed to them. That's a great thing, he was saying back when he was traveling there upwards of 30 times, taking college students there. That's who she picks for her vice president? That should tell you everything you need to know. Which, again, is why America is not a communist nation. By and large, Americans reject communism, which is, again, by and large, why I believe President Trump is up 10 to 20 points. All right, I've got another focus group to play for you. My buddy Mark Halperin, old colleague from Newsmax, does these focus groups, and they were talking about Tim Walz and what Tim Walz and Kamala Harris bring to a guy like me, an alpha male, right? Toxic masculinity. Did they have any message to them? I don't think so. They turn us off. And that's a problem because there's a lot of men out there, especially union workers, that are breaking for Trump again. And these men are turning on the beta male Democrats, home of the beta males. If you don't want to be a beta male, this is what I urge you to do. Go to energizedhealth.com/Grant. Energizedhealth.com. It's about cellular hydration. I'm drinking so much water, man. I can't tell you. But this is not the whole program. I've changed my diet around, but I'm eating many of the same foods, most of the same foods, actually, that I ate before. I'm just changing how I eat them and when I eat them. This program has allowed me to lose 13 pounds in just 4 weeks. My muscle mass has gone up. My body fat has gone down. I am feeling great, folks. Okay, look at that. I feel great. 56 years old. I owe a lot of this to Energized Health. And I was in decent shape before, but man, I've tightened up. My energy is through the roof. I've measured my testosterone. My testosterone is up being on the Energized Health program. So if you're looking to get back in shape, whether you got to lose 100 pounds or you just want to do like me, lose 10 to 20 pounds, get with energizedhealth.com. Get on the program. You will not regret it. There's recipes involved. There's personal coaching involved. There's daily motivational videos that are involved with this. And the scientific program that allows you to, again, hydrate your cells. Cellular hydration. This is the key to everything. Again, science is what it's all about. Energizedhealth.com/Grant. If you want to take back control of your life, you better pay them a visit today. All right, Mark Halperin held this focus group talking about Tim Walz, all right, and Kamala Harris.
You know,
Tyler,
Yep.
can I ask you a question? Because you said
Yes, sir.
young men of your acquaintance are way more for Trump than you realize. And there was something. This convention was very well watched, according to the polls.
Yeah.
So it wasn't well watched. The convention had low ratings, but this is, again, what they do. They want to tell you things that just simply are not true. He's asking this young man here. Most young men are breaking for President Trump, are voting for President Trump. Listen.
Upwards of 20 to 28 million people watched every day. And I'm not sure that young men saw literally anything for them in all 4 nights. Mark was on my podcast, the Commentary Podcast, the other day. This is a point that Matt Continetti has been making on our podcast, made every day of that convention, which is that you would believe that the Democratic Party was overwhelmingly, or that America, if you were a Martian, you came down to watch and you watched, this was your first exposure, you would assume that America was 80% black and 70% female. And I don't know what was there for, if representationally, if conventions are efforts to represent, to say, we are the country, vote for us, I think there was a real interesting gap in showing.
All right, so what he's saying is there was nothing for the white man. Nothing for the young white man, nothing for the old white man, nothing for those who practice masculinity. The entire Democrat convention, I didn't even think it was about being black. I thought it was about being a woman. The whole convention was, look at me, I'm a woman, hear me roar, I wear a pink pussy hat. It was a woman's march. It was 5 days of a freaking woman's march. And that does not appeal to the American people. They're wacko Looney Tunes. Abortion is their only issue. They are not going to win on abortion. Now, I get that the American public, the majority, may feel that abortion should be legal and all of that. I don't, but I get that the majority may. I don't think it's a big majority. But this is still not going to be the issue that decides the election, because people have now realized that there's more to politics than just right to life or right to take a baby's life. Much more. Now you got to pick your side.
An America that was, this is a country, I hate to, I mean, I don't want to sound right, 74% white. This country is 74% white. And that convention was 74% not white. And this country is 50% women and 50% men. And the convention was overwhelmingly female. And not just Kamala. I mean, the roll call of the states, all of that. Yeah. Alex, does this ring?
I agree 100%. I think they would also have thought that 70% of American men wore yoga pants.
It is. It's the beta males. The beta males have killed this country. We now have Tim Walz. He's running for vice president, governor of Minnesota. He's a beta male. You got Anthony Blinken, the Secretary of State, dealing with Hamas, jihadists, Xi Jinping, dealing with the leaders of Iran, jihadists, dealing with Vladimir Putin, even Zelensky, who you could make an argument's a beta male, has managed to turn himself around to be not quite a beta male, just a total grifter. But you've got beta males running the country. By and large, alpha males are fed up with it. We just want to see strong men out there take control and lead. I'm sorry if that hurts anybody's feelings. And I said before, because Kerry Lake is running for Senate in Arizona. Who's running against her? This Ruben Gallego guy. Ruben Gallego is a beta male to a T. And so, again, I make the point, it's not really about being an alpha male and making sure we have alpha males in Washington. It's about having alphas in Washington. People bold and unafraid to take a stand. People that are willing to stand up for what they believe in and will not sacrifice their morals or values just to garner votes. Ruben Gallego will sell his soul out to garner votes. That is not who you need. So I like alphas, alpha males, alpha women, leaders. If you're going to be elected, we need followers in this country. Don't get me wrong. This country wouldn't work without followers. But we also need alphas. And sadly, we now have betas running the place. And it's despicable, really. So this was Tim Walz. This is an interesting comment he makes. I'll play it, and then we'll comment on his comment.
I think we need to push back on this. There's no guarantee to free speech on misinformation or hate speech, and especially around our democracy.
Wait a second. There's no free speech? There's no free speech? Should I play that again? There's no free speech on misinformation? I'm going to tell you, folks, there is no such thing as misinformation. There is such thing as lies, but there's no such thing as misinformation. They're giving you information. You decide whether you fact check it or not. You decide whether you believe it or not. But I don't need to censor the Democrats' lies. I'm not going to stop them from playing them out on social media, playing them out on TV. I'll counteract them. I'll expose them. But I don't need to censor the Democrats. I have enough faith in my message that I don't need to censor them. But they need to censor us because they have no faith in their own message. And when you have no faith in a message that you're pushing to the world, well, then you can't have a stronger message out there because you lose every time. And this is what's happening to the Democrats. Play this clip one more time. It's stunning, really.
I think we need to push back on this. There's no guarantee to free speech on misinformation or hate speech, and especially around our democracy.
It's unbelievable, folks. There's no free speech around this. Yes, there absolutely is. You better believe there is, and there always will be. So you know how I've been telling you that President Trump, I believe, is up big. So anecdotally, I love all these videos. You know, I played you a little bit of Benny Johnson going out there and asking black folks who they're voting for, and by and large, all of them are voting for Trump. And Benny says he wasn't picking and choosing. This was a legitimate sampling, and most people were coming back for Trump. The pollsters well, they're not wrong. They're lying to you, and that's a big difference. Here's a kid in, like, Home Depot going around and asking people.
Sir, Trump or Kamala?
Trump.
Trump or Kamala?
Trump.
Excuse me, sir? Trump or Kamala?
Trump. Trump or Kamala?
Trump.
Trump or Kamala?
Fuck no.
Excuse me, sir? Trump or Kamala?
Trump. Trump or Kamala?
Oh, Trump all the way. Come on now.
Trump or Kamala?
Trump all day long.
Trump or Kamala?
Trump.
Trump or Kamala?
Trump, of course. Trump or Kamala?
Trump, baby.
Excuse me, sir?
I mean, what do you think? Do I keep playing it? I'm fascinated. Like, literally, I sit there. I guess this is why I get addicted to these reels on YouTube and TikTok and Instagram. Because I could literally sit there and watch everybody say Trump. And then I have to watch the mainstream media tell me that polls say that President Trump is down 2 points or down 3 points. I don't buy it.
Trump or Kamala? Trump or Kamala?
Trump.
Trump or Kamala?
I'm sorry?
Trump or Kamala?
Who are you? Excuse me, sir.
Who are
Trump or
you?
Kamala?
Trump.
Excuse me, sir? Trump or Kamala?
Trump.
Trump or Kamala?
Trump.
Excuse me, sir? Trump or Kamala?
Kamala.
Excuse me,
What?
sir? Trump or Kamala?
Trump.
One Kamala out of all of that, folks. One. And they're going to tell you that she's up, or the polls have it neck and neck. Give me a break. I don't buy anything they're saying. But we've got to swamp the vote. Too big to rig. Got it? We had a comment in the Rumble chat. Too big to rig. It's what President Trump says. Swamp the vote. All right? This is what needs to happen. It really does. Hey, before I let you go, let me tell you about my friends over at Patriot Mobile. I have a Patriot Mobile phone. You know, I love this phone because I love the people behind it. I love what they're doing. I love their energy. And most of all, I love that they stand in the gap, supporting the things we do. Every time you make a call, you know that some of the money that goes for your cell phone service is going back to conservative causes. Right to life, Second Amendment, First Amendment, all of these things, Patriot Mobile stands by, and the media attacks them because they're America's only Christian conservative wireless provider. So they hate them for that. So it is a parallel economy. Why would you support the big woke cell phone companies? They're the ones doing all this diversity, equity, inclusion nonsense. They're pushing woke policies. You better believe they use some of the money you pay for your cell phone to push woke causes. So I made the switch. Oh, and by the way, they got a Patriot One plan. One phone, 2 networks, 2 lines. And so that says it all. 2 separate networks. Nationwide coverage, upgrade your phone, get a new phone, anything you need to do, just like every other cell phone company. Patriot Mobile can handle it for you. PatriotMobile.com/Grant. Use that promo code Grant or call 972-PATRIOT, 972-PATRIOT, and you tell them Grant Stinchfield sent you. All right, just for fun, we'll finish up a little bit of Benny's interview with those guys that I was playing for you earlier.
What would be your message to Barack Obama?
I don't know, pump some money in here. Pump some money like Trump, you know?
Your message to Donald Trump?
Come on, man, get us to the Super Bowl, bro. Make America great, man. That's all I can say. Make America great.
Everyone's so friendly around here.
Yeah,
everyone's so friendly around here.
Hire me, you need diversity. I go for the interviewing people.
Yeah.
You supposed to be somewhere chilling.
I need chain game like this.
Here we go.
What's up, my
Who
guy?
we need up in there? Who we finna let drop a bag in the hood? Who we want to get the bag back going in the hood?
Y'all know we gonna need Trump in that joint. Y'all
You
know
ain't
we
gonna
gonna
find
need
a
Trump
soul
in
around
that
here.
joint.
They ain't gonna say Trump.
Y'all gotta dig what's going on, man.
Yeah, I'm taking over Benny Show, man. It's Odie, man. I'm a YouTuber, man. Y'all get at me, man. But everything Trump over on this side of town. I ain't gonna lie to you. You can go everywhere. You see how dry this motherfucker is? We need Trump, boy. Whatever it's gonna do to make this flow back, man. Get it up. Let's get it going immediately, man. Benny, who you going for, Benny?
My president is making America great again, Donald
Okay,
Trump.
I'm going with Trump too. We locked in. That's what I'm talking about, man.
Amazing.
I need the job with you, man.
I love Chicago.
It's my long lost twin, man. Separated at birth, man.
Better tattoos, better style, better hair.
We both good looking though, man. That's all that count, man.
Better
Balls.
teeth, and a better ride. All right.
It's great stuff, Benny Johnson. Great work out there in Chicago. He was there for the convention. But that, folks, is really what you need to see. And we need to hammer this home for you so you don't get too down. I talk to people all over the place. They're getting down. They see the mainstream media and they're painting this picture that Trump's in trouble. He's not in trouble right now. He's not in trouble. We still fight. We still do everything we can. We claw. We scratch. We grapple. We do everything. We coming out of our mouths, just the spit and grit and grime, because we're going to fight. Fight, right? That's what President Trump said. I'll tell you, that's what we need to do, and we never give up. It's why I'm doing a podcast on a Sunday evening, and we got great viewership on a Sunday evenings. I love doing the Sunday evening show. I don't do it every weekend, but I love doing it because I think people are hungry for content. A lot of these commentators only work on weekends. I'm working 7 days a week, baby. 7 days a week. All right, we got the radio show in the morning. You can see us on Real America's Voice at 7 p.m. Eastern time. The radio show, we stream on Rumble, by the way, in the mornings, 9 to 12 Eastern time. Just type in The Morning Answer. That's with Jen and I. The Morning Answer, 9 to 12 Eastern time. Then I do the podcast right after that, and then the Real America's Voice show later on in the evening. So we will see you for all of that. God bless every single one of you. Stinchfield's Army rolls, folks. Thank you for doing what you do. Thank you for being so engaged, and thank you for really the passion and drive to make sure we get our country back. Because without you guys, we are lost. You guys are the best. We'll see you on the Real America's Voice show.